You're listening to WTJU Charlottesville. On Saturday, August 9th at 7:30 p.m., Vinegar Hill Theater is showing The Price of Resistance, Salah ud-Din, an American Agitator, and Uprooted, presented by the Indie Short Film Festival. Both documentaries recount stories of Black resistance from the 1960s. For Arts This Week, we spoke to Ty Cooper, a co-producer of The Price of Resistance.
My name is Ty Cooper. I'm associate director of the film The Price of Resistance. It's a very deep and soulful documentary, and this was like a story that kind of started in the 60s. I met Annette Banks. She was working on a film called Freedom House Ambulance, which is about the first EMT service in the country, which was in Pittsburgh, to serve the Black community. That's how the EMT service started in this country. I screened it here in Charlottesville. I sent her my film, which I was working on at that same time, called Amanda. It was a narrative film that I wrote, directed, and produced. She liked that. One day she just said, hey, this gentleman who was in Freedom House Ambulance named Salah ud-Din, he has such an amazing story. Would you help me tell that story? Annette had the project in mind, but nothing was done. But we continued to do research together. You know, she did her research, I did mine. I really dived into it because the story was so important. What Salah did in his early 20s, he left the comfort of his home in Pittsburgh and ran down to Mississippi in 1965. That was when the 3 civil rights activists were murdered by the KKK. So not everyone was really running down there. People did, courageous people. It's not just about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Adam Clayton Powell. You know, it's not just about them. It's many of the other foot soldiers that did amazing work. There's a lot of stories out there that we don't have a clue about.
What did you find most interesting while working on the documentary?
I learned a lot about Salah, but not only just this courageous man, this change maker, but I also learned more about the FBI counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, where they surveyed innocent people. We actually interviewed a gentleman who was a retired FBI agent of 30 years. You heard about the use of it against, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Black Panthers, but there were also many people who weren't even fighters of the cause. They may have been supporters, and they were also targeted. Salah didn't know that he was being targeted. That's a key difference when they put a plan together where they need to neutralize you.
The FBI agent who you all had in the documentary, he was actually working around this time?
Yeah, he was in Mississippi and Alabama doing some work, for the FBI under Hoover's administration. He was dedicated to the law. When you are committed to your work, there's the umbrella that he's under, right? You got to know what's right. There's a lot that we have from him that's not even in the short that will make it into the feature. So when you see the short, you're going to feel full. My friend Paul Wagner, he and his wife have a great film, the Georgia O'Keeffe film. He was like, okay, so I don't feel as though I'm missing anything. And I was like, oh, man, you don't even know the half.
One significant overlap that I found between The Price of Resistance and the companion documentary, Uprooted,
Uprooted's coming, yep,
is the joint emphasis both documentaries put on the continuous displacement of Black communities with the support of federal policies, like how eminent domain allowed Christopher Newport University overtake the Siouxland community, and then how the Lower Hill District in Pittsburgh, where ud-Din grew up, like that was taken over by redlining.
Exactly.
How do The Price of Resistance and Uprooted join in an intersecting conversation, considering that they each share stories of Black resistance in 1960s America?
Great question. Let's look at America as one big piece of fabric. You have all these common threads, but then you have some threads that's a little like they had to use a different yarn. So when it come down to the 1960s, which was like a blemish in America's history, when I saw her film Uprooted, I said, you know what? We're covering different information, but we're covering the same time frame, and we're covering information that does overlap.
I mean, it's even significant having the film in that location.
Yeah, for sure.
That used to be a Black neighborhood.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Vinegar Hill community and the Hill District, being uprooted, it's just like twin cities. All the same policies destroys the opportunities for human beings, and it was Black human beings. Experiencing that as a kid, that fueled him to fight back. It's not about being displaced for him, But that is the thing that was a driving factor because it's part of his makeup.
What types of reactions and ongoing conversations have sparked amongst community members and different audiences after viewing these films?
Well, we always have a panel discussion after the films, right? We have people who cry in the audience, tears flowing, men, women, and we have people who are just so shocked. For me, as a black man in America, I learned from the film in my research, but nothing was surprising. I think that the audience always have that wow factor.
I want to ask, what would you say the significance of these films are, at this political moment?
These films are a reminder of what happened. We're trying to give you an opportunity to learn something that you may not have known, and then to watch what's happening today, because there's certain policies that could take us right back to a certain time frame. History can repeat itself. And some people say history is repeating itself right now. That's what makes this documentary really relevant. There are certain policies that were put in place to protect a classified group of people. And now those policies are being removed and taken down and broken apart to the point where you have college and universities, presidents stepping down or being threatened, help people get to the point where they're like, okay, you know what, we can't let this happen. I think that we really need to kind of get to that and make sure that we don't allow things that's happening today to continue to happen. Protest, just fight back the way you can fight back.
How can listeners find out more about this film?
We're sending it to film festivals and screening it independently the way we're doing. I like screening independently. This is what I do. I'm a promoter. I promoted over 1,700 events since 1993. If we come to your area and screen it, then pay attention to that. But what you can do is go to LifeviewMarketingandVisuals.com. We have it up there, like the screening dates. We're going to be probably working it for another year. We want to go to about 20 different cities throughout the country and also submit it to some film festivals. It's not for the programmer who's saying, oh, no, I only want 8-minute films. No, they have to be people who love art and understand the importance of the story.
On August 9th, The Price of Resistance, co-produced by Ty Cooper and Annette Banks, is screening along with Uprooted, directed by Brandy Kellum, followed by a panel discussion. Vinegar Hill Theater is located at 220 West Market Street. Tickets are $23 and may be purchased through the Eventbrite link.